All right, and
And
today we have a
we're
super
back.
exciting video to make. We have a
Tier
super hype
3!
topic, tier 3. We have two robots to show today. So starting off, this is Gremlin's robot. Some of you guys already might have seen this from VexCAD. It is quite insane. We have the first really working tier 3 on an actual competitive robot. You can see it working here quite quickly, around 11 seconds, I think, 10 to 11 seconds for a
Yeah,
full climb to tier 3. Bam, and they're up like just like that.
just like that.
Yeah, and we
Um,
can really
uh,
slow this down a little bit and just dissect
yeah,
the robot
just
here.
dive. So something you'll notice first, right, is those passive hooks on the bottom. What that does is it doesn't force your
Right here.
robot to do unnecessary back and forth, which you see is actually a problem that they have. When you go past the other rung, they have to swing very far. And you see that kicker at the bottom? That's what actually stops them from falling. Because, like, if you were to not have that, you would just rock back and then you would fall on your back. So that's a really useful thing in order to stop them from, plummeting to the ground, which I would say is bad.
Yeah, looking at their base here, and it's a 6 motor PTO, and I think there's
Mhm.
two PTOs because it actually, when it's coming from down here, they have to raise the lift with a motor. So it's going to be a 2 motor PTO or two PTOs. And
Could you
this is
not
just
rubber
so
band it
impressive.
upwards?
They're sliding. Oh, I'm pretty sure you can, but I don't think they did do that.
Okay. But
Yeah,
that might be something to, if you wanted to improve it, maybe, being able, instead of, you see how they have to use their motor to actually lift it back up to the next rung, maybe possibly making that rubber banded upwards in order to just take out some of that extra
but
time.
I'm still pretty sure your motor still have to run the other direction to undo the winch, right? Because I'm pretty sure it's a winch.
Well, yeah, but if you slid the PTO off of it and then had it rubber banded up, similar to how over under hangs would expand, then like high hangs,
Yeah,
then you could probably rubber band it up, or you could use maybe a decoupler or something along those lines.
yeah. I mean, everything else about this is looking pretty good. I do think, however, that it's definitely going to be really tough and challenging to put wall stick mechs on here. I think I've been thinking, and I think the only ones that I can really see being put on here is like a really small redirect system, like 1028As. And how
Mhm.
you would do that is basically you'd make your guiders, right, your hang guides a little bit further outwards. I That would make the rocking on the robot worse, possibly making the hang less consistent. But I think that's the only way to give their space for a wall stick mech. What do you
Yeah,
think?
that's a very interesting point because if you do something such as Lady Brown, you see they have to really rock against the thing, so the Lady Brown structure just
Won't Yeah,
would
it just
would
won't
just
be it just won't be
completely
able
get
to.
in the way.
Yeah.
But do they use plastic to guide their robot?
Yes, it's plastic. It's
That's
poly.
I would have thought for sure you would have to use something a little bit more structural, but I don't know. I guess it because it's just like really guiding it. It's not so much needing to be so precise. It just needs to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, you can
I
see a
guess plastic
kicker
works
down
there.
there with a piston. And it popping
I
back
mean
up.
the only real issue though is just not getting that top stake. The top stake, I mean, you do get the 12 points, but you get an additional 5 points, three from the 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 top stake alone, but also you get an additional 2 points for each alliance member that's hung. So you would obviously be hung if you're getting the top stake, so it's 5 points. But in matches, if your teammate hung, that's an additional 2 points on their already 3 point likely hang. So just having the high stake, I would really hope to see that some teams going for that in order to get those extra points.
Yeah. And a little bit more complicated on this robot is their PTO system. I think it's down
Mhm.
here, right here, right where their nameplates are. You can watch as it clicks, as the piston pushes it around while they're hanging. I'm not 100% sure how this works just yet, but it does look very very impressive, and I would like to see how this does do at Haunted.
I I wouldn't be surprised if at Haunted that
Hmm.
they are the ones that set the new world record for skills because
Yeah,
even though they can't do wall stakes, that's only most like if you have a very good route, you're probably only scoring what, 8 points in it, so you get those extra 4 points from hang. 4 point. Well, no, I guess you really only get 1 point.
Hey, but I feel like if you run like a 60 and then you hit like you hit the hang, right? Because I did see the snacky cakes run and that was
You can't.
very
You
impressively
can't.
fast.
You can't hit a 60.
You can't hit a 60?
They can't. They don't have wall stakes.
Oh, I'm saying like oh I meant like if they had like some sort of wall stakes and like
Oh yes,
yeah and
yeah.
hit a 60 and then that like what 72 that would
Yeah,
totally like that would easily
that
get
would
you
shatter.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, here
Um,
is the second video. Let's play it
yeah.
once.
Uh, I see it very likely that over time, when everyone starts doing tier threes, there's just going to be a huge surge in skill scores. Right now, we're seeing them very close together.
Yeah, super
By
close.
very in the near future, we're going to see a huge surge just because those 12 to 15 points, if you get the high stake, it's just so much.
Yeah, but here, I mean, here this robot's hang design. Honestly, I feel like personally, I like this more than Gremlin's design, and the reason for that is because I feel like this could be used on the corner easier, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and just let you get that top stake, even the yeah, like at the end, which is going to be huge.
And I watched this video a few times, and the actual hanging sequence only takes about 9 seconds. However, if you pay close attention, they are running four motor drive right
Yeah, so
now.
this is four motor drive and not running full speed because they're testing. So not full
Yeah.
speed, four motor drive, and not macro. So I totally think this could even get down to under 8 seconds, which is going to be huge for the hanging meta, which I
Yeah.
do think will soon evolve with a lot of these hang leaks starting to pop up.
I think the only real issue with this way of doing it seems there's just a lot more moving parts. So you're
That's
just gonna
true.
have to be a lot more conscious about how you're likely going to need a lot more tuning than if you went in with a Gremlin design, where that seems a lot more straightforward. Other than like it has to close, you have to make sure the closing sequence is good, going back up, going around the bar, hooking back in, you have to make sure that it's all perfect. Otherwise, if it misses, it just won't work. Whereas Gremlins, it's just goes up, pulls down,
Yeah,
that
but
kind of.
also I feel like this is actually going to be easier to build for like teams who are a bit ambitious and going for that tier 3 because honestly this is kind of similar to what like some of our hangs last year looked like, right? Just a two-stage winch hang and then with pistons, right? And they just fold up, right? And then there's a passive layer that would I guess deploy with a piston or some way in the later half of the match and you can just run that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think this design is better, but you're just gonna have to be very. You're just gonna have to understand like things that go wrong, and then make sure to tune with them.
Yeah.
But overall, I really like this design.
Yeah, I feel like you can even go to say you can probably fit some more stuff on here than you can with the Gremlin robot, right? Because with
Absolutely.
theirs, the front of the robot is basically completely like
Mhm.
unusable because they have to slide, right? They have to slide on the bars. This one doesn't. This one uses the back. So
The
I
only thing is, you with a wall stake mag, a the only one that we've seen so far that hasn't that does wall stakes without expanding out the front is actually 2654 ease mag, which doesn't actually go out in front of the robot. So you would be able to put this on the back and then 2654 ease mag on the front, and then you would be able to score on walls effectively, very effectively,
yeah, and
while
honestly,
still
and they're
having there.
currently number one in the world for skills. And honestly, I think there's totally enough space on here because like what a lot of teams did last year with their high hang winch mechs, you can put that intake in the center between these two C channels, right?
Yeah.
And I think that could totally work and easily get you number one in the world if you're cautious and ambitious enough.
And if you beat pronounces to it or echo to it.
Yeah. So I definitely think that this design and the Gremlin design are both two absolutely amazing robots that we've seen this season. Honestly, I'd have to probably say they're like at least top five robots we've seen this year.
Oh yeah, and not to mention about the echo bot. Since it is on the back, you're using hooks, and so that top stick is going to be just so easy because it doesn't require hooks don't require so much precision to just get it on that top stick. So
Yeah,
that's going to be
let
a
me bring
lot
this all the way up to the
consistent.
top. So, I mean, when before they do their last drop here, I
Mhm.
totally could see them using hooks to just grab that top stake real quick and then do the final drop to
Yeah.
secure that hang.
And I'm also how would you think you should because obviously you would want to macro this. So how would you recommend, like, would you recommend a rotation sensor, you think, on the PTO in order to see how high off the ground you are, or how would you go about that?
Actually, let me think about that because I feel like rotations are not super effective, especially when you're hanging. I think maybe some sort of mm, distance, or actually, because last year whenever we macroed, it was literally just completely time based, and I don't think it's like not possible to do that here too. You can just time base it until it stops, right? Because you'll see so much more friction whenever this whole thing, whenever the winch is completely like stopped. Correct?
Uh, yeah, but so for your time base and over under, was that just like once you hung, did it just drive forward for a set amount of time and then you were already at the top?
No, it would
Or
just drive forward like literally forever until because we won't of course we won't hang early, so
yeah,
we'll only hang the last couple of seconds, so it's fine. And then I would just stop the code after I'm up. So then because the PTO is already because the ratchets are in already, so we just stop the code
yeah.
and then it stays up there.
Well, the difference here though is you can't indefinitely run it forward, so you have to be a little more precise with that. Which why I think like if you were to have a rotation sensor on the PTO, you would know exactly how many rotations the thing has spooled, and then that would you could translate that into vertical height. The only kind of issue is we had this in over under where our string would unevenly spool on top of each other,
Oh
so
yes, that was
it
super
would
annoying
go
sometimes.
over and wrap back over each other. And so that would cause inconsistencies with it. However, the over under pole was 36 inches. And here you're only going at maximum 16 inches at a time. So I don't really know if it would be that unfeasible.
Yeah. Well, I think.
Also,
Hmm?
distance sensors track more than 42 inches, right?
Yeah. So you
Or
can what do
you
you
can
think
just
you can
point
just
it
point at
down.
the ground? Yeah, point at the
Point it
ground and
down.
you see the height. That could
Yeah,
work too. Yeah. Very very cool. Good
very
job,
cool.
Gremlin, and this Taiwan team.
Yes.